just wait for everyone to come in out of the hallway. We'll start in a couple minutes, so just hang tight. We'll get them all in. Okay, thank you once again. My name is Mike Chambers. I'm the fiscal officer at Cuyahoga County. Being the fiscal officer, I wear the hat of the county auditor, which is why we're here tonight. I'd like to say thank you for coming. I know this is a very hot topic. Yesterday at Tri-City East, we had over 700 people. So we know this is important, and that's why we're out here doing it. A lot of my peer counties, only three of the 88 actually do this informal process. So we believe it's very important. And I hope by the end of this program, you'll be educated on why we're doing this, reminded if you forgot, but we'll go through that process. And truthfully, this letter that came to you, if you cannot sell your home or you don't believe it's valued for what I put down, I'm going to give you the information you need, and we'll go through that pretty thoroughly, because there's some confusion on that, of what you need to tell me, to notify me so I can help lower your value. Okay? If you believe you can sell your house for more, unfortunately there's not much we can do, right? Because that's why we're here. So some of you out there may be surprised, and this is the truth, that your values may have gone up a little bit, but you found when you... Hold on. You may find truthfully that your taxes went down. This has happened yesterday. Okay. It's going to be a fun night. Okay, listen. Truthfully, let's get through the program. I promise you, last night I stayed till 9:30, whatever. I will answer every one of your questions. So let's get through the program. And then I'll have people going around with the mics for questions, and I will answer every one of them, okay? I promise you that. So let's get through this, and once again, there's a lot of people here that don't quite understand the whole property tax and what's going on, and all you know is that when your value goes up, your taxes go up. And hopefully by now you've checked the calculator and realized it is not dollar for dollar, it's a fraction of a percent. And I'm going to explain why that is. Absolutely. All right. We got a short video here, okay?
You may have heard Cuyahoga County is in the middle of a sexennial reappraisal process. We want to explain what that means. Every 6 years, as mandated by state law, we conduct a sexennial property reappraisal to determine the value of all properties within the county. Our fiscal officers and state licensed appraisers have been reviewing properties across the county, and during that process, they consider many factors like market trends, property upgrades, and neighborhood characteristics. Residents will receive their proposed valuation notices in July. An increase in valuation does not necessarily mean property taxes will increase. Property owners who want the appraisal department to reconsider that valuation can file for informal review by the end of August. Informal reviews will be completed in November. Tax bills will be available in December, and tax complaints can be filed with the Board of Revision team from January to March of 2025. Your engagement and feedback are crucial through this reappraisal process. We're hosting public meetings to provide more information and resources to help you. If you have any questions about sexennial reappraisals, we're here to help. Just call 216-443-7420 and select option 3. You can also visit cuyahogacounty.gov.
Okay, just a short video. I thought it was important. Everything I'm going over tonight is on our website. Hopefully you've been able to see that already. That video, everything we talk about is going to be on the website. So the reason I'm here, you're here, is it's not a city, it's not a county necessarily problem about these property taxes. I was ordered back in January of 2022, hereby orders Cuyahoga County Auditor, to perform this reappraisal. This is a state process that I follow. As the county auditor, I'm an agent of the state. They gave me my orders back in January of 2022 to commence this process. So what we did, the first thing we did was we prepared a plan which the state of Ohio had to approve. We submitted that plan and they actually approved it in July of 2022. And then from there on, we have been working on this process where we are today. So when I say that it's not a county problem, it's not a state problem, it is a state problem. Because there's 88 counties. The checker of all 88 counties is the state of Ohio Department of Taxation. Why are we here though? You're not the first group of people that has ever been in an auditorium upset. The first time this ever occurred was 1825. Yes, it is, 200 years ago. Look it up. The first levy that was ever put on the ballot tied to a assessed value was for a school levy. 1825. So this has been going on a long time. Okay? That's why we're here. The state decided way back when that they needed to somehow fund schools, and they decided to come up with this process. And since then, it's been tweaked a few times, and here we are today. So you're not the first group of people that's been here in a situation like this. These are my orders. So real quick, comment, what is an appraisal? Once again, there's two types really. There's a fee appraisal. Those are the people that, if you're looking for a mortgage, or you're looking to determine how much to sell your home, or you're looking for insurance, you have a fee appraiser who goes out to your home, goes inside your home, goes up your attic, your basement, your garage, spends an hour or so, maybe 2 hours, looking at everything you have in there. That's what a fee appraiser does. And then they come up with a value. Mass appraisal, we don't do any of that. We stand on the street or on the sidewalk, and we, just like that lady was on the video with her tablet, making adjustments and notes. I'll get into what's on that tablet in a minute, okay? There's a big difference. Mass appraisal was only created for one reason only, and that's taxation. Okay, once again, 1825, we started this process. So, yes, it is not as in-depth as a fee appraiser, no doubt, okay? These rules that we're following, 5713 of the Ohio Revised Code, we're following the state guideline rules. I'm following the rules that they set for me to follow. Okay, so what is mass appraisal? Once again, it evolved out of reason for tax, and it's basically taking a universe of properties, which is this assessment period, at a given time, and subscribing a value to every home, every parcel in Cuyahoga County. That's what mass appraisal is. So we have about 27 full-time appraisers. We hired 30 additional appraisers. These are licensed. Every one of our appraisers are licensed appraisers. The contractors that we hire are licensed appraisers. When they're not working for us every 6 years, they're doing the Third Federal, the key banks, they're doing the fee appraisal work. I say that to you because my peer counties don't have that. A lot of them contract out to outsiders to come in. Our appraisers and our contractors live in Cuyahoga County. They know the difference between a street or two in a market. They know the bones of these homes. I refer this as not a great analogy, but it's like a doctor. You come in, you're coughing, he kind of knows right away what's going on. These people see the homes. They know the values. They're experienced. They're using those. Most of them have 25, quite a few have 30 years of experience doing this. These aren't people that just got their degree. These are long-term employees that have done this. These two gentlemen now have both done 5 of these, which makes that 5 times 6 is 30 years. They got 30 years of experience doing this, so they've been doing this a long time. I share that with you just so you understand that these are people, we follow the guidelines for mass appraisal. It's a lot different than the fee appraisal, but these are experienced people. So what happens? Once again, every parcel is physically inspected from the curb. On that laptop that lady had, what our appraisers had in the field, in the old days we had these big bulky books, they were writing notes, the notes had to come back, they transcribed in the computer. That was a kind of opportunity for a lot of error. We got rid of that this year. We updated to these tablets. The tablets they have the cost value on it, and we'll go through that in a second. Before I jump ahead of myself, it's very important about the valuation notice you got. But we're in a neighborhood, and it's the last item on this slide here. We assume everything is typical for the neighborhood. I indicated we don't go inside. I have no idea you've got water damage in your basement. I have no idea you have an original kitchen. We don't know that. That's why we're having these conversations, so that you can learn and get some evidence, and we'll go over that, to tell me why your value is not what I have. We can see your roof, we can see your cracked driveway, we can see your windows, but we can't see inside your house. And we'll talk more about that, about the evidence and how to get to that. But we do make the assumption that that neighborhood that we're in is typical. So here's what's on that tablet. So the Sexennial is every 6 years, okay? 3 years ago we did a triennial. I have a slide on that. But the Sexennial stands for 6, the first of 6 years. Once again, it requires that physical inspection in the field. There's a lot of times we go out there and we look at the house and there's a massive addition on it. Whatever reason, the city didn't send us down to permit. So that's part of the reason why we have to go out in the field once every 6 years and physically inspect the home from the curb, from the sidewalk, just to catch things like that. Our appraisers are, on that tablet, there's the cost approach, which is basically what it would cost to replace today, less a depreciation number. There's comparable sales, a minimum of 5. We'll get into that a little bit more. And then there's this multiple regression analysis. And what that does, it takes every sale in your neighborhood. Okay, there's 59 communities. We have 1,020 neighborhoods. So I live in West Park. West Park probably makes up 3 different neighborhoods, because sometimes a street or two makes it different at West Park. So don't think it's your traditional West Park as a neighborhood. It's not. It's multiple different. We try to go where the data tells us. If the sales are really high in one area, we try to identify that area so that we're not unfairly applying ratio or data analysis to an area that doesn't deserve it. That's what multiple regression is. It takes all the data, all the sales in that area, that neighborhood, all the buildings, the like homes, and it breaks it down to a square foot, and then it multiplies by your square foot of your home, square footage, and it comes up with a value. We find that that is actually the lowest one that we traditionally have out of these 3 approaches, because everyone knows building material and everything's really gone up a lot. So we look at all this data. The appraiser has all that in the field. And what they're now visualizing is if we have good condition, they're confirming that. Or if we have poor, maybe it got fixed up and we're changing it to good or fair. That's the characteristics they're looking at, okay? They're spending, a couple of minutes in front of your home and then they're going on to the next one. That is mass appraisal. So everyone's going to say, well, how can you get a good value? We're following the guidelines I outlined here, approved by the state of Ohio. And I understand there's some flaws, and that's why if you can't sell it, it's not typical. We're going to talk later on what you need to do. The triennial was the one that was 3 years ago. That was 100% sales data. There was no looking at the home, none of that stuff. It was the once a month in our county recorder's office, every property transfer is recorded. A file of all the recordings for that month is sent down to the state of Ohio. This happens in all 88 counties. That's why they can double check all of us. A file is sent to the appraisers, and then a file, we used to send it, but now they just download it. It goes to the media. That's where Cleveland.com and everyone else gets that information. It comes from us, from the transfers. So the ratio studies, once again, was by municipality, by neighborhoods. Once again, we tried 3 years ago very hard to make sure we defined those neighborhoods so we weren't unfairly valuing someone improperly. So, last year was the first cycle, 88 counties. These counties, this is a sampling of some of these counties that were doing some updates. Some of these were triennial updates and some of them were sexennials. But you could see last year, Ashland County 41, Wayne County 36, 29. You could see these. This is what we saw coming last year. Last year, I'm actually going down there tomorrow. I go down to Columbus once a month on Thursday. We meet with the County Auditors Association. We kind of were working on this since last year, sponsoring bills. Our association, all 88 of us, sponsor bills to try and change how this property system is working, especially for the seniors, for the homestead. We'll go over that a little bit more in a second. But this is a snapshot of what was going on last year. So, I wear a couple hats here, and I don't like all the hats I wear, but the one hat I have is that you got that letter, you don't agree with it. I want to be fair to you. I'm going to tell you how to tell me, and I want to make sure we get our records right. I also wear a hat because these taxes that we're collecting are going somewhere. You and your neighbors voted for levies over the years. This is a snapshot. This isn't one city in particular. I took all the counties, so I wasn't singling any of the communities out. But this is where the This is where the funds go. Most of it goes to your schools. Right here is about 60%. On average, it goes from 45 up to 75, depending on the community. But the average is about 60%. The average is about 12% for all your cities. 4% for the libraries, your health and human service levies, your metro parks. This is where all the money goes. And the reason I told you 200 years ago they started this was so that there was a way to keep some of these entities funded. I don't necessarily agree with you, I'm just explaining how it happened. We collect over $3 billion in property taxes a year, okay? That was what we were slightly over $3 billion last year. And once again, the vast majority is going to go to fund your schools. So that's the other hat I wear because I have to do the job. The only reason we're doing this job in the first place is we're required by state law to do it, we're mandated to do it, and obviously mass appraisal was created for one reason, and that was taxation. So we're going to do questions at the end. We're doing.
They're giving signs to that lady again.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, what we're saying
taking pictures of me. I don't appreciate
no,
it.
we're not, sir, we're not taking pictures.
Then why are you getting all this from her?
We're saying we have to do 2 presentations because we have so many people here. So immediately after this, we're trying to tell our team that we have to do 2 presentations tonight.
And you're giving her signals.
Because she's
All right, listen.
She was right.
Let's just stay on track here. This happened last time. We've got an overflow crowd, so we'll have to do 2. But I'll answer all your questions, so hang tight. All right, so.
Oh, she's smiling now. That's a big joke. Sure.
It's okay, let's get through this. Let's take, everyone, deep breath, come on. Deep breath, we're gonna get through this. So, I said earlier that that notice that you got, if you looked at it, you saw the increase in... Okay. All right, everyone's good. The whole point about valuation, it goes up, say it went up 30% or 40% or 50%, the whole reason your taxes didn't go up was because in 1976, House Bill 920, if anyone remembers the 70s, there was high inflation. The best thing the state legislators ever did, and they haven't done much since, was pass this law. And what that does is it freezes the voted levies. So when you vote for a school levy, it freezes it so that all they can keep, that's all they're able to get year after year after year, regardless of how much your value goes up. That's on voted levies, okay? There are some unvoted levies, going back to the original conversation back many years ago, to help initially start the schools. Those are unvoted, they're not restricted by House Bill 920. The reason I share that with you, there's going to be a lot of levies coming up in the future, and when you vote for that, it's going to be frozen at whatever they say, regardless of what your value goes up or down. That's on the voted ones, not on the unvoted. Okay, let's look at a snapshot. We started this once again back in January of 2022. Right now we're here this July through August. This is the informal process. I'm expecting 35,000 complaints. Okay, we're expecting a lot. So we have a deadline that you have to respond back to our office by August 30th. Okay, what's going to happen is I have to get my final approval to the state. Right now I got a tentative approval. I sent these notices out to you with no approval because they were taking too long and I wanted to make sure you had a chance to do this informal. 2.5 weeks later I got my tentative approval and I'm glad I sent it out because we wouldn't be here right now. So I have to get the final approval back to the state by October. And the tax, this is everything we're talking about is for the tax bills of next year, January of 2025. If by chance you get my notice back, which you'll get back late November, early December, we're going to mail them all out at the same time. That way we're not going to get inundated with calls. If you don't agree with it still, you always have the right to go to the Board of Revision. Board of Revision is much more formal, okay? It's not nearly as, my evidence that we're going to talk about in a minute here is not eligible for the Board of Revision. Okay, here we go. These are examples. You don't have to have them all. It's just, I was trying to weight them. If you can afford an appraisal, okay? Once again, as I indicated before, if we were going to appraise every single home in Cuyahoga County, it would have cost us $225 million and take about 5 years for us to do that. That's why we have to do mass appraisal. We just not, it's for taxation. But if you can afford an appraiser, you can appraise it, you can do it. That's the best evidence. It's going to give you the highest opportunity for a reduction of whatever they come in at. If they come in at 50,000, that's going to be a pretty solid number. Less. If you can't afford it, some people missed our deadline, so we have a deadline on the data gathering. You may have had a closing slightly after that. If you have that closing that's lower than our value, we will accept that. Photographs of structural damage or deferred maintenance. We think the house is typical. I don't know you've never updated the kitchen. You could use that as evidence. We're going to do questions at the end. I don't know that you have water in the basement. Once again, I see the driveway, I see the roof. So all you need is pictures of that. I do ask for a certified estimate, once again, and I found out yesterday that a lady was calling Home Depot and they're not taking them anymore because of our reappraisal. So I know that's going to be kind of hard to do, but we will take photographs, okay? Get your camera with a picture on it, with a date on it, send in some photos and a description. Give us an estimate, give us some information that we can help you. Lastly, and the least value, but it's an opportunity to use the information, is sales comparison. On my website, and we'll show you a picture of that already, there's a sales finder. You type your name, you type your address in, it'll hover over your home, and it'll start lighting up like a Christmas tree, all the sales in your neighborhood. If you look to the right of that, it's going to show you all of that information, the lineal of it, the verbiage of it. But it's also going to show you the average mean of your neighborhood, and it's also going to tell you how many homes are in your neighborhood. It's a very good tool. You could look for that and find 5 comparable sales. Send that in as support. Okay?
Where's that?
It's on my website. I'll show you here in a second. So once again, these are all examples. They're all. You don't have to do them all. I understand that. But all I'm asking you to do is show me some of the support that makes your home not typical, and we will consider that. So, in the letter you got, there's a PIN number. So the way you can submit this is you can upload the information, which is really the preferred way because you upload it, you will get an email back saying we received it. Okay? So you can upload your pictures, upload your comments, put all of that in there. And once again, hit submit, you'll get an email back that we received it. You certainly can mail it, U.S. mail, no problem, but you won't get a receipt for U.S. mail. Or you can bring it down to our building. All you can do is drop it off. There's no one going to be meeting with you, but you can drop it off, and we will give you a receipt if you want to do that. So those are the 3 methods that you can get the information to us. I will say this, that everything that comes to the county, and everyone knows it, everything we have is public information. So that's all, I'm just making that a note. So here's the website. Okay, it's at the top, cuyahogacounty.gov, fiscal officer. You can Google Cuyahoga County Fiscal Officer. All of them will take you here. So we got a couple things of value here. The first thing I do want to point is this property alert. Okay, this is a link to my recorder's office. There's a lot of deed fraud going on. This is a free service. You heard all about LifeLock and all those other things. This is something the county does so that if anyone messes with your deed or inquires, you'll get a notice. So you click that button, you type in your phone number, they'll send you a text or your email, free service. A lot of times, once again, we got the levy coming up, but say this is not an update year and your school or your city's putting a levy on. This here has been here all along. You can calculate the impact of your levy. Type in your city, and hit, and it'll give you how much the levy's going to go up put in your value, your city, and it'll give you a good estimate of how much that levy's going to impact you. This was something when a lot of people were buying homes a couple of years ago. The realtor was not necessarily, they were saying this is the current taxes. They never told them what the new taxes were going to be. So when they got that purchase price, we obviously raised it up there. That was kind of a shock to them. This is also, if you're going to buy a home, you can put your estimated purchase price, and you'll know how much it's going to cost you. So what I want you to do here, though, is since I didn't want to mess with these are used all the time, I created this tab, Sexennial Reappraisal. If you click that, it's going to open up to everything you need. It's got the map of all the communities. Right here is the property tax estimator. If you want to hit that QR code right now, it'll take you there as we're talking. It'll show you the residential sales finder. Once again, it's all on these tabs here. The presentation. And then this is a link to the portal we talked about if you want to just upload your information. So you're going to need that piece of paper you got because it has your unique PIN number on it. This is just a bigger map of all the increases. So a little impact on House Bill 920. All right, this is an example in Cleveland. House went from 100 to 128. It went up 28% value. But the taxes went up less than a fraction, up $9. If it was going to go up $28, that should be over a $500 increase. It's not. Okay? That's why I'm telling you, I hope all of you at least check that calculator. If you haven't, go outside and check it. A lot of people, and I said this earlier, didn't believe me, someone was laughing. But if this person was a little different, they would have had a negative number. Last night at the presentation, 5 people had a negative number. Okay? I'm just saying it happens. And that's because they were well below the average of their neighborhood. So that's just an example. Here's another one. Here's one, 180 to 260 at 44% in Cleveland. The impact on the tax bill was 13%. That's the impact of House Bill 920. That was the best thing the state of Ohio has ever done for us. That's the inflation fighter. I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
$630 a year. Thank you. $800 a year.
Okay, so before we get to some of your questions, I've been down at going to these meetings now for 6 years. We sponsored a lot of legislation. What I'm sharing with you now is the homestead exemption. Everyone realized, we didn't really get into the conversation about tax abatement, how that really hurts our neighborhood, hurts you, because they're getting 15 years of free taxes, but you guys are paying it, the people in the neighborhood are paying that difference. Tax abatement's a big thing. It's also pushing our elderly out of their neighbors, out of their neighborhood. I went to St. Ignatius, a long time ago. For $1 million, you could have bought 10 streets. Now one house on some of those streets are $1 million. What's happening is our elderly, you can look at Tremont, you can look at a lot of different areas in Lakewood too, they're being pushed out, they're house rich, and people say, why don't you just sell it? Where are they going to go? Where are they going to, it's not that easy. So we've been pushing hard with the state to help us out. Well, answer your questions at the end. To help us out with some bills. This was a great bill that we sponsored, this 70 under 70. This did not make it anywhere, but it was if you were 70 and made less than 70, you would get the homestead exemption. This House Bill 187 is still working its way through. I think there's a good chance this might make it. This was going to put a cap on inflation and how much these taxes, the valuations can go up. And it was going to expand homestead. It was going to get it, because right now you have to make less than $38,600. Social Security is not included in that, but that is still way too low. The county is looking in the fall to trying to start a similar program to help the seniors, similar to that 70 under 70. I have a long way to go to get approval, but we are going to put some of our funds in trying to help people with that program, so more on that later. I share these bills with you because the state is the one that has to fix this. I have to follow the rules, but if they were to expand homestead, if they were to stop doing some of the tax exemption, another thing, you got billion-dollar corporations paying no taxes, all of that hurts us. All of that is controlled by the state. They're the ones that approve all the exemptions. So these are some bills that they're there. I have a list of them. There's many other ones for disabled veterans and things like that, a lot of different bills. We just need to get them to do something. My colleague over there in the corner has been testifying before the Property Tax Commission. Our auditors have been down there. Like I said, we've supported these bills. I think what would help if you were to reach out to your state people, your state reps, and let them know how you feel as well. Some of them are doing a great job. Brian Sweeney, our gentleman from Seven Hills, I can't think of his name right now. Yeah. Sean Brennan. A lot of people understand this, but they need to get it done. Okay, the leadership of the state right now is stuck. They need to get these things done. They have the support, they just need to get it moving. Frequently asked questions. I had a recent board of revision decision. How will it impact? Unfortunately, my new value will wipe out that board of revision decision. If someone's property characteristics are incorrect, does it automatically result in a change? No. Let's face it, a lot of people have gotten rid of their dining room and opened up their kitchens and all that stuff, or converted a bedroom to another bathroom or a closet. That doesn't necessarily matter. And square footage is what we're kind of looking at. That's the main factor. So if you change the room or you don't have 4 bedrooms or whatever, that's not necessarily going to result in any change. When can I expect a response? Late November, early December. We're expecting 35,000 of these. If I start sending them out as I'm getting them, everyone's going to be calling, where's mine? And it's going to jam us up. So we're going to send them all out in late November. Why do 2 homes on the same street, same year built have different values? One home probably could have sold years ago and they got a higher price. Maybe the guy next door didn't do anything to his home and he got a lower price. Maybe one is getting homestead exemption. There's many reasons why the 2 houses in the same street are not the same price. If you were to buy a house on that street and it went up to, you spent $200,000, doesn't mean I'm going to raise everybody $200,000. That's not how this works. So once again, a lot of people think, well, why my house is identical? Is it different? Well, somewhere along the timeline, someone, the truest value is market value, what someone's willing to pay. Someone probably bought something and then adjusted that, bumped it up. Can I file more than 1 complaint? No. The first one is it. Okay, that's it. So, once again, I need you to help me. If it's not typical, okay, I know there's going to be questions. We're going to talk about all of this, but the best thing you can do is get those pictures, get your narrative done, put a stamp on it, and get it down to us. Tell me why yours is not worth what I say it is. If you think it is worth more than that, okay, then we have not a whole lot to talk about. With that, okay, now I've talked to you the mass appraisal. I explained to you the guidelines that we follow. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, you don't come in my home, but that we don't, nobody goes, none of the 88 county auditors go in homes, okay? We follow these guidelines. So where's my question, people? Okay, let's go.
All right, this is a trifold question. First of all, I just want to understand how you were able to dictate how much tax I pay on a property that I already agreed to the sale price of, and then you're telling me that I have to put the burden of proof on myself because you want to raise my taxes, but I have to go out and do the work to tell you why I have to pay less. I'm already busy. I'm doing a lot of other things because I have to go get a job to pay for these taxes, I'm just being real with you. And number 2, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be a virgin, but can I understand this?
Let's do one at a time. What was the first one?
Okay. All right, I'm really heated right now. I have thinking so many things.
Okay, take your time.
Why are you able to dictate how much tax I pay on a property that I already agreed to? I made an agreement on a sale price, and now you're telling me I have to pay a different tax amount every year. That doesn't make sense.
When did you buy it?
When did I buy it?
Is it more than 3 years ago?
Yes.
Then we're following state law, that's why.
Okay, now this is another good question. Okay, so you're saying you have to play by the rules.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Trump, then why are you going to tell me, or why are you going to let Uncle Sam tell me what I have to do? Why aren't you telling him he's playing dirty? Why are you playing by the dirty rules? This is what I don't understand. That's kind of dirty.
I'm playing by, you were listening to me, I was ordered by the state.
Okay, so who's going to whistleblow and say, hey, listen, this is not right, and I don't want to facilitate this. Some other schmuck is going to come on stage and do your job for you, and I understand you don't want to step away because somebody else is going to do it. But who's going to sit here and stand up for the people and say, hey, these people don't want to pay this much?
Listen, I agree with you.
You agree, but then you're giving me a hard time. Now, if I want to go get a quote, then I have to sit here and then I have to wait at your mercy for the next taxes. And what if you don't get my information on time? Because I can't get the information to you on time. But you're going to raise my taxes, and then I got to figure out where I'm going to scrape up this money. That's not fair. There's a lot of single parents out. I'm not a single parent, thank God, but there's a lot of single women with children that have to do this stuff. There's a lot of animosity towards this, and I can see why.
Listen, I 100% agree with you. I tell you, I agree with you. What I'm trying to tell you, if you want any opportunity in a reduction, you have to do what I asked you to do, get the support. I know it's not fair. If you don't send it in, then there's nothing for me to do.
You're paying for all these things. Why don't you have somebody go to each house
You shouldn't have people.
Her question is why don't we go inside each house? We don't. I told her we don't. We stand on the curb. It's massive appraisal. It would take us years. It would take us 5 years and hundreds of millions of dollars.
You'd save hundreds of millions of dollars because you wouldn't be paying all these people to do all this extra bullshit work.
And listen, I agree with you. Once again, the rules. I want you to be successful, so yeah. Who else got it? Let's go.
Could you explain what a certified estimate is? I have estimates from contractors.
He wants to know what a certified estimate is. Okay.
I have estimates from contractors, but I don't know if that's certified.
That's good. And that's good for contractor. The whole thing was there is it wasn't the back of a napkin. It was somebody who was a legitimate company. That's all.
On letterhead,
Yeah.
company letterhead, that's certified.
Yeah. And once again, if you don't have that, you can take photos and write your narrative. We'll consider that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I don't know what to do if my square footage is wrong. They show that we have a floor and a half, which we have one floor and a basement, and there's 556 square feet that's in there twice.
You can call that 443-7420, option 3. And we'll get an appraiser to come out and take a look at that if we have to. I can't tell, I mean, I'm going from what you're saying. These guys can look at it from the aerial view. We have an aerial view of your home. You call that number, they can take a look and see. Okay?
So I don't do this.
I would call the number first, talk to one of our appraisers, and see if they can help you. And then if you can't, then do that.
Okay.
Okay?
How do I verify?
We'll call the number and you'll talk to somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to take photographs of existing structural damage and or deferred maintenance. What other documentation do I need to submit along with those photos? Some kind of a letter explaining the photos, or?
I'm not sure where you're at, I can't see, but if you got the photos, oh, I'm sorry, yeah, my eyes, the lights. If you just got the photos, I understand. I mentioned this, I was saying this yesterday at Tri-C East, and the people said, well, they tried Home Depot, they won't answer the phone anymore. So I know that that's not going to work. The goal is you can send those photos. You know, obviously you have a date on your phone, you have the camera, so we know it's today, or close to it, and then you're right up in there, what you got going on there.
Okay.
Yeah. And once again, if it's water or something we can't see.
You got here on the assessment procedure, it's typical for the neighborhood. What if your house doesn't look like a typical house in the neighborhood?
Then tell me why. That's what I mean. I need you to help me.
Because there's bungalows and doubles and colonials in my neighborhood, and I got a little ranch style.
Well, the typical is the inside. I'm assuming the inside. We already see the outside. So the whole thing about the typical is, I don't, most people may over time update their kitchen and don't have water in the basement. That's what I'm getting at. We can see the different style of home you have. So what I'm asking you, if you can't sell it for that value, or don't think it's worth it, help me help you and tell me why. And that's your opportunity. You want to take pictures, you want to write a narrative, whatever you think is going to help you.
Second question is, it said 58% goes to the schools.
Approximately.
Well,
That's an average, yeah.
Now, I live in Parma, does 58% of my tax money go to the Parma school system? Or is it being divided up against?
No. I gotta be careful. I don't know. Some cities have 2 shared school districts. So if Parma only has 1, then it's going to Parma. Parma schools, yeah. I can't remember Parma, 7 Hill. So there's 3. So it depends which one. Someone shouted 3, so it depends which one you're in. That's where it's going to. Somebody here?
I'm not a good speaker, but I'll say a few things. You're not going to find information now. I used to live in Fiscal. They're jam. You guys know that too. I got hundreds of thousands of people. You put 30 million on it. That's not going to happen. Okay, second, 30-40%.
Yeah.
Let's go. Every single one here is between 100 to 500% increase. Every single one. It's the truth here. And one reason is because in a few years, when the market blows up and didn't fill up the 8, are you going to be so aggressive to reduce taxes? My neighbor now, guess what? He can kill California paid $450 for a junk house in Fremont. He has no idea what he's doing. He's gonna walk away, just like everyone else in 2008.
So two things, that's what's hurting us a lot.
So you're punishing me, who did a smart thing, right?
I'm trying to just...
Whatever, take the money here.
Back in 2009, a lot of us bought homes back then. For the next 12 years, our homes were underwater. And our values of the county, you go back, it's all on the website, go back, we were well below what we paid for the homes. The value went down. It's only truthfully 2000, the taxes went down too. They went down. Well, let me rephrase that. Come on. Let me rephrase that. I apologize. Certain taxes went down. House Bill 920, that same one that helps you now, the same one that helps you now, did.
That's a 500% increase.
That House Bill 920, and I apologize.
500%, man.
This is 15 of these in a row. So, House Bill 920 works in reverse. So those schools that asked for that $5 million, okay, they still needed that. So back in that time, the tax rate was adjusted. So I apologize, you're right. So, going back to the other question this young man had about out-of-town investors, we'll talk about that. Cuyahoga County is cheap. If you live in LA, like he said, or his friend in Chicago, they're buying these properties up. Listen, time out. I'm making a point, let me just finish. 43% of Cuyahoga County residents rent. So there's a market for rental property, which is why, and yes, it does impact us. It does when they pay that. Yes, it does. I'm just giving you information. That's why they're doing it. We have a high market for renters. And it does impact you.
Back here, neighbor.
We're right here.
Right here. I'm in the middle. I've lived in Parma for a long time, over 35 years. I am single. I am almost 70 years old. I'm the only person, the only income in my home. I'm on Social Security, $583 a month. Social Security. I have Medicare, I have Part D, I have medical bills for a lot of health issues. I have one eye drop that costs me, get this people, $934 for one vial for 1 month. Where do I get the money to pay the extra 32% taxes for the city, for the county? This is what I feel. I feel totally defeated. I have worked and worked and worked. I worked in the city of Parma. I'm a single person. I own my own home. I busted my butt to make sure I owned my home. I take care of my property by myself. I can't even get the city to cut the grass on a timely basis. That's another story. I feel totally defeated as an almost 70-year-old woman. And I think I look pretty good for almost 70. Thank you very much. Thank you. And here's my question. These are all my comments. That's how I feel, sir. I feel defeated. Who do I personally contact? And the rest of my friends here from Cuyahoga County, Parma. Who do we contact at the state? Because I don't think it's you that's going to give us the answers we need. And my other question is, page 21. Page 21. When do these things come into effect?
Those bills, I can't say.
Yeah.
Once again, those are examples of bills that went nowhere. I am telling you, my 6 years, we've sponsored many, many bills. All right? We've been down to Columbus testifying. So you want to know what you need to do. First off, are you getting the homestead exemption?
I do.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure. Okay.
But when I got that, the property taxes went up, so I didn't really know.
Well, I just want to make sure
so it was like...
All right, I just want to make sure. But once again, I told you, and I'll say it again, it's a state program. They have to change the game. They have to change the rules. I'm all for it. I have 5 children. I agree. I've got people who have never been educated in the public school, and they're paying, some of them are 90 years old, my neighbors. I understand. I feel bad for them. We need to help them.
Who do we contact?
Your state legislator, whatever district you're in, look them up and say we need some help.
Okay. And by the way, I worked for Parma City Schools for over 25 years. Our buildings do not reflect that 56% from the taxes. Our buildings in the school are deplorable. There's no air conditioning. I have a They work in a building with no air to clean it, but yet we put 58% of our taxes into this, and there's no air conditioning. And trust me, when you're working with special needs kids, some of these kids cannot be in the heat. I don't know where our taxes are going, but I totally feel defeated. Thank you.
You control that. Okay. All right, next question.
I have a comment and a question. My comment is, I don't know if you are aware or not, but your simple math on the estimator tax calculation is incorrect.
Change a little bit.
Your math is not correct.
Change a couple dollars, I know.
Okay.
Is that what you want to say?
No, but I have a question.
I'm aware of that. It's a living system, so it's still within the range.
I know, but your simple math isn't even right. Simple math doesn't grow and change.
I'm not sure.
Subtraction, addition doesn't change. I'm just telling you, your simple math is wrong. Okay, the comment or the question I have is, I am recently going to receive the homestead tax. My property value went up 46%. When I calculate my tax without the homestead exemption versus my tax with the homestead exemption, with the homestead exemption, I end up paying more tax. Wait a minute, on a monthly.
I know the answer.
Okay, let me finish. I know the total tax without the homestead exemption is greater than with the homestead exemption. But my question is, there's a 12% difference between the tax increase between the homestead exemption and the not homestead exemption. So if you file with homestead exemption, your tax is 12% higher than if you file without.
So let me answer the question. So this young lady's looking at the homestead exemption. That's why we asked you whether you have it or you don't. If you don't have it, you're going to look what the total tax is. Okay? Put your thing in there, but look what the total tax is. I know the difference. I know you're looking at the difference. But it is best to go on the homestead.
I understand the tax rate, the total tax is higher without the homestead exemption.
Right.
Or with, yeah, but what I'm telling you is, there's a 22% difference between the old tax rate and the new tax rate without the homestead exemption. But with the homestead exemption, there's a 34% difference between the old tax rate and the new tax rate. So what I'm asking you is, why does somebody with the homestead exemption pay 12% more in the increase? Like, why are you penalizing older and disabled people?
They're apples and oranges. I know it looks confusing to you, but I'm telling you, the total tax is lower with the homestead. It's a different calculation. They're not the same.
I understand, but the percentage increase in the homestead is 34%, whereas it's only 22% without the homestead. So why aren't they the same? Like, if I'm filing with the homestead exemption, why wouldn't my tax go up 22%, just like without the homestead?
I have my homestead table out there. I'm telling you, they will show you the difference, okay? There's a reason. It's a two different calculations. If you're not entitled to it, you're comparing, well, I got the homestead or I didn't. But if you look at the total, you admit the total tax is lower under the homestead.
You're correct, but the percentage I pay is higher, so why can't I pay the 22%?
It's all in the calculation behind the scene. Don't pull up and show it to you, okay? Next question.
Somebody was next.
Hello.
Hi.
My first question is, most of your appropriation there on the chart was for schools. Where does the lottery money go? I got that question.
That's not part of our control. I agree with that. You know, I'm just showing you what the property tax, the lottery is property tax. It's not in there. You don't see the state funding. It's not in there either. The state is funding. This is just where your taxes are going.
Okay, another question is, I'm not very very good with the computer. Can we start a massive write-in petition to go against this, to fight this, and maybe a class action lawsuit against the county for taking our money that they don't deserve? And where are you going to build these schools? Where are you going to put this money? In Parma? Or where?
You live in Parma, so?
I live in Reappraisal. Okay, what?
Well, wherever you live, that's where you're paying your school.
Well, it's not going to go downtown. It stays in the district. Yeah. Stays in the district. Yeah.
I showed you the breakdown.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I'm going to ask you again, can we start a petition? We'll get hundreds of thousands of people to sign it.
Sure, I mean, the best thing you can do is call the state and this has been going on for over almost 200 years. And I'll sign a petition with you if we start.
Okay, thank you.
You know, I noticed that what's happening in the neighborhood is houses that are selling for more than the asking prices. They're selling for like $30,000, which means that all of the houses on our properties are raising up because people are desperate to get their starter houses. So you've got young people trying to get starter houses, and you've got the elderly who need to downsize.
Madam, right in the microphone, we can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. So what's happening is that everybody is outbidding other people just to get these houses, which is raising up the price of all of our properties. And the other thing that kind of bothers me is something I heard on the news the other day, is that they have dropped all the school levies because of the raise in the property taxes. They have said they're not going to run any more tax levies for the schools. I heard that on the news yesterday morning. I was like, what is that, what does that mean to all of us? I mean, in other words, they don't have to bother because, we don't get to vote on this. We can vote on a tax levy, but this is something that you're just implementing.
I mean, you do vote for the tax levies, and this is part of the equation, good, bad, and ugly, it's part of it, this is the result of it. So, you're right. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chambers.
We don't even have time for a couple more questions, because I have a whole bunch more coming. I will be here all night, though. I promise you, I'm not going anywhere.
Okay. Hello, sir?
Yes.
Sir? Sir, here. Up here. Straight ahead. Straight ahead. My question for you is, I have a 1,200 square foot bungalow, and I have colonials next door to me, and their valuation was $30,000 less than mine. Mine went up $40,000. And I want to know because you said your analogy was, oh, well, it goes by your square foot. I have a little shoebox compared to their house. What was the appraiser looking at?
I'll tell you what, we can take a look at that, all right? So I'm going by what you're telling me, but if you call the number, we can use our aerial picture.
I could show you. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, this young man will take a look at it.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I have a question. I live in a development that are all cluster homes. We all look exactly the same from the outside. When I assume that the mass appraisal would be identical for how do they determine this? Mine went up $80,000.
Once again, some of them have sold over time. I mean, you're aware, if you live in a cluster home, you know the sales prices. Just like this young lady over here was saying, the sales have been continually strong. They're getting slower because there's not a whole lot where else we're going to go. But the sales prices are up there. So one of my slides here, why the two homes, same streets, in your cluster. It's what someone was willing to pay for. And apparently enough people in your cluster have sold, which has impacted you.
There hasn't been that many sold right now.
I don't know for, I'm just giving you an
It's just
example.
like $80,000.
Once again, use the evidence I gave you to help me help you. Tell me what's wrong or why it's not worth it. And we will look at that, I promise you.
Well, the only thing I can do is an appraisal. I have to pay.
Listen, it's your kitchen, David, what do you have on the inside? I mean,
long process. But last time I did this, I ran into the same thing where there was a file size limit of what I could post.
I just checked it, and we're not aware of any limit. I mean, 30 pages shouldn't be a problem, but it could be.
But you want the estimates too, and I can only file one, so should I do it online? Should I print it all out and take it downtown? Which is the most.
You bring it out, we're going to give you a receipt. Okay, we'll give you a receipt.
But then do they scan it into your system?
Yes, everything we get, yes. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. My house went up, my appraisal went up $95 a month on taxes. I'm 85, I have a homestead exemption. I can't work this. You're pricing us out of our homes. On July 19th, it was in the Cleveland Plain Dealer, the tax rates for the schools, and the state, the city of Cleveland and the city of Parma taxes, which covers Parma Heights and Seven Hills, they are the two highest in the state. $3,459,924 is going to the Parma schools that has a B- rating, where we defeated the levies. And the reason I went to the meetings on the levies, and I went door to door in Seven Hills on this levy and defeated it, because they want a better sports team. Nothing to do with the schools, nothing to do with the quality of education or the classes. They don't even have a decent curriculum. And we should pay taxes on this. Read the book, You Will Have Nothing by Carol Rock. Be sure to read that. Especially towards the back. And also, we are going to get together and we're going to do a class action soon to go to Columbus. Also, 4 times in the last 20 years, they have said that our taxes are illegal. They're against the Constitution. We need to get the Democrats out of office and we need to get on the Supreme Court. We need to form a coalition. Go all sign it. We have signed where you can sign up for this, because this is bull. They're pricing us out of our home. That's not right.
Thank you, Mike. Listen, everybody, your greatest asset is your vote. You do it, okay? I'm with you. I'll go with you. Let's do it.
And my tax that I did on the calculator went up 41%. That is a blue collar neighborhood with low, middle income and below. I did some research and it seems like the areas that are low middle class and below got hit with a higher percentage.
Go online, look at the sales finder, look what everything's going around. You'll see. I know that area, guys. I know that area well. I'm not too far from there. It got hit hard, but the data is there and shows it. If you see the sales in your neighborhood, you know it's crazy, and I know it's crazy. That impacts you. Yes, it does. I'm just telling you, it all comes in.
I got one over here, Mr. James, real quick.
All right, is there still a crowd?
Yeah, I have a question. Over here. You bypassed page 18 very quickly.
What was that?
That's the reappraisal impact percentages. I'd like to know how you arrived at the reappraisal impact percentages on 18, where Hunting Valley only is at 15%.
I will tell you this, okay? This is another thing, and we're talking a little about it. Some of our inner rings are not rebounded since 2006. East Cleveland's one of them. In 2006, the average home in East Cleveland was $75,000. Last year, it was 34, and then 2 years ago it was 34. Now we're up to 50. Hunting Valley went from 2.4 million or whatever it is to 2.9 million. They went about 500,000. Percent-wise, not much. Dollar-wise, not. And the reason being is the more affluent areas maintain the same, a pretty steady price. They don't have a lot of sell. They don't have a lot of sales. That's why they're valued correctly. I know it seems unfair going over to somebody over here. It's not. It's justified. Sales in that area. You can go to Hunting Valley, look at the sales, same thing, type of parcel number. You can see everything going on.
Go to Brexville. Brexville has sales. The values are going up. So why hasn't their value gone up on your maps as much?
Once again, you're looking at an average. So there's neighborhoods in Brexville that have got, I mean, the average for Cleveland was, 32%. Some people went up, we heard 60%. Some people only went up 2%. It's an average, so somewhere in there. And the same thing, but I'm telling you, in Hunting Valley, they don't rotate their homes that often, okay? It's an affluent area, they maintain their value.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I have a question.
Proposed market value notice, will we mail that with the following two things? Will we allow to mail that by August 30th?
Yeah, get it in this, yeah. You can use the mail, yeah.
That's one more question. Is Columbus doing anything about the homestead exemption clause where the owners in the nursing home, that are 4 people on a fixed income or on Social Security living in her house who are related to Columbus?
I'm just telling you, Columbus has a whole lot of bills about homestead exemption. You need to get involved and tell them you want this, and that 70 under 70 is a pretty good one.
She doesn't, she is the owner, she's in the nursing home. Her 4 siblings are in the house.
As long as she's still the owner, though, she's dead.
Oh, so I can make a,
She's the owner of the home, get the owner. Or she's a surviving spouse.
I have a question. Wait a minute, on the homestead 187 bill, it just passed the bill on which bill we use on.
House Bill 187 is working its way through. They can get it out of the House instead of send it to the House.
It's in committee.
No.
It's in committee.
Okay. But I know there's a great deal of interest because it covers a lot of things. It addresses homestead, it addresses the property trees, it has a whole bunch of things in it. The thing I worry about, truthfully, is that good things and sometimes get parlayed with something else. So let's hope your voices will push that through and get something done.
Grandfather clause or anything like that, increasing the taxes on
I don't know if the bill's going to put it in there. I don't know if they're going to put it in there.
Hey, I just got told about a year ago.
My question, up here, my question is, when you do the mass appraisals, what do you look at? Because there's houses on my block that some of them look like driveways, and then there's some that don't. The driveways were mandated when they had sales, so is that considered an upgrade, or is that considered maintenance?
No, we see the driveways. I mean, for example, if you had a fence and you got a permit to put a new fence up, we're not going to add value. We know the fence. The driveways you can see. Obviously, where the impact thing is on the visual inspection, is it good, is it fair, is it, poor, so if it's crumbling, they might adjust it slightly, but it's not going to be a massive change. Where we see all the outside stuff, remember, a lot of what we're doing involves, a big part of that is the sales data going on in the neighborhood. That's a big function of it.
Because really what I would think is that most of the time, what you look at, what is maintenance, and then what's an upgrade. So if you get a new driveway, that's maintenance. But if you add on, that's an upgrade. Regular maintenance like driveways, windows, vinyl siding, those are not upgrades. To me, those are maintenance. If those are maintenance items, you should do that.
They impact the characteristics of the home, all the time. So I don't disagree with you, but I'm just telling you the facts.
Can you hear me? Okay, I got a question. I had a hard time wrapping my head around the fact that estimator that property value went up and taxes went down. Is that truly a possibility? So I live in a neighborhood where I'm surrounded by Westwood Farms, Sidell Farm, but I live right on Westwood Drive, which is totally different nomenclature for the houses. Is that the reason that my taxes actually went down?
The reason it went down, and thank you for sharing that, some people don't believe me when I say that, your increase was below your neighborhood average, which is why. So once again, that's how it works. So you got the benefit of that, and thus, you got a reduction.
And one last question. 3 years ago, I went to the Board of Revisions for review on my value. Because the back part of my properties, they rezoned it to be in a flood zone, so I kind of used that for argument. And I was a realtor, and I used my cumulative market analysis, to try to get the taxes adjusted. Are we still allowed to use that from a realtor, which is a lot less expensive than what it would be for a qualified certified appraisal?
Thank you. I was trying to see where you were. So yes, you can submit that information. I apologize. I supervise the board of revision. So yes, you can submit that information to the board. Any information that you have, that anyone has regarding the value of the property can be submitted to my office. And I'm not sure if the gentleman is still here who said that it's difficult to get an appraisal now because of how many people are asking. Going to doing the informal process first does not in any way preclude you from going to the board. So what I would recommend that you do, the board's filing period is between January 1st and March 31st next year. Schedule your appraisals now. If you can't get them in time for the informal process, file your complaint with the Board of Revision the first quarter next year. You do not have to have your appraisal by the time you file. And with the number of complaints we expect next year, we're going to be hearing those complaints well into the later part of next year, and probably even into early 2026. So ask for the appraisal now. You don't have to have it right away, but have it ready by the time you're hearing it from the board.
The last time I was working at revision, Strongsville Schools had a lawyer representing the school district. Did the state go away with that process?
Yes, they did. It has to be $500,000 or more.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, for them to file, I want to say for them to file. So usually your schools are the ones filing. Did you file? Is that what happened? Yeah. They changed the law to overhead. It has to be $500,000, but they can still be there, but they can't file against the schools.
I have one for Mr. Chambers.
I got this gentleman to next.
Just a quick question. What other information can you provide us other than just a number?
I'm sorry?
You provided us with a number of the new value. What other information can you give us that backs up that number?
Good point. What I put out there on our website is every single parcel out in the county, all your neighbors are out there.
There has to be a calculation made for status to come up to that number. I would like to know what those numbers are.
You can't get it, but right now it's a living document, so when we're done in November, you can certainly request that. But at the same time, once it's done, you'll see everyone's there. But I indicated to Mass Appraisal, they're using that multiple direction, they're looking at the recent sales data. A lot of this is all impacted by the sales data in the neighborhood.
Sales data is not.
Assuming people are successful in lowering their valuations, is that going to affect people who don't challenge their valuations? Are their taxes going to be different than what you're estimating right now?
If you file...
No, I'm saying you don't file.
They don't
but
file.
All your neighbors file and they get a reduction. Is that going to affect what your taxes are because it's going to be divvied up based on the total valuation of that community?
They don't know what that means, but no, I don't see that happening. But if they don't file, then there's nothing going on. Am I hearing you correctly? So if we're expecting 40,000 people to do this, and we're going to adjust it, that's why I have a tentative approval. I still have to get the final approval back with the state. We're expecting that we can absorb, once again, when we file, if your home's worth $100,000, you're not going to get $90,000 off. You're going to get something, when you're trying to put your evidence and get something reasonable for you. Okay?
The sales data is not necessarily the best indicator because people fix up their homes before they sell it, and so that is not typical of the neighborhood.
sir, I got one, Mr. Chambers.
When you sell your home, you fix it up, and so then you're basing everything on sales prices, and that is not an accurate indicator for evaluating homes that have been around, people have had for 30 years.
Sales, you're right, and that's what mass appraisal is about. It assumes that, it takes all the sales in that neighborhood, it breaks it down to a square foot. We look at
But I'm
the
saying
building.
that the sales, people sell their house, they fix them up before they sell them. So that's not really accurately evaluating my square footage.
Once again, we can argue about the principle, but if you can't sell it for that, help me help you, let me know why. I'm telling you the rules that we follow. I'm not saying they're always the best rules, I'm telling you these are the rules, but I need you to help me help you. Why you can't sell it for that.
Did you, aren't you the one that put forth the plan of using sales for the valuation?
Guidelines, the revised code to the state of Ohio, they have to approve it. Yes, the
I
state.
know, but you put it forward though.
Remember, once a month, the state gets a file of every sale, every transaction. They're my big brother.
You keep saying it's the sales, it's their fault, but you're the one that put forth the plan to use the sales evaluation, which is not really.
My plan is how mass appraisal works, and that's what we went through the whole program. I know, I hear what you're saying, but sales does impact. Yes, it does. 3 years ago, 3 years, I apologize, 3 years ago, it was solely sales. There was no visual, no nothing. We didn't even look at it 3 years ago. It was just based on sales. That was the triangle update. So sales is a very big factor. I don't necessarily, confirm or deny it, I'm just telling you the facts.
You said you send appraisers into each neighborhood and individually assess houses. Am I correct?
The appraisers went down every home, visually inspected every home, property, commercial, residential, yeah.
Okay. They arrive at their figure, percentage-wise, what neighborhoods get hit the hardest and which ones actually don't come up. You show Cleveland at 49%, might not incorrect, but there's other areas that are 32, 34% increase. Why is the Homestead Exemption Act going up commensurately with the percentage of their increases in their houses? You have got some seniors that are in their homes and you're putting them in a lose-lose situation. That's not right. You're going to hear my voice, whether you like it or not. I'll stand up for these seniors. You guys need to do something about that. 38.6 is ridiculous.
I agree.
If somebody got a 40% increase, 40% increase in their valuation, that 38.6 should increase by 40% on an individual basis.
There's a bill out there, I believe it's part of 187, that puts an inflation factor on how much you can increase, and it also has something where the homestead increases. There's many bills, ladies and gentlemen, if you take a look at them, get involved. There's a lot of bills out there to address what you're saying. I would love to follow them, but they need to approve them, okay? I'm with you. That never got signed. I know. You need to talk to them. I want them to sign it.
Give us a break. We had our whole life at this.
Once again,
I've been in my home for 50 years by myself.
call your state rep. Let them know. But I can't help you. I have to follow the rules. Now, we are having a plan in the fall. We're trying to do something like a 70 under 70. We're trying to help those that are hurting. So more to come on that. So,
Over here. I just had a personal thought about a month ago. If I was to submit that with the documentation and say you guys were 18% over the estimation and appraisal, if I was to submit that, can I expect you guys to come back and match that value, or are you guys just considering that? And then what type of feedback?
they will take a look at it. Absolutely. Let's take a look.
I mean, a month ago, right?
It's a license appraiser.
Right. Are you guys considering it, or are you guys going to match it? Because that's what somebody was actually
going to take a look at it. Once again, I trust you.
Right.
I don't know if it's.
Yeah, right. And what about, what kind of feedback could we expect from you guys?
The feedback is November, December, you're going to get a final letter from me. okay? And if any adjustments occur, you'll see that. If you don't agree with, if you didn't get an adjustment, which I hope every one of you will, if you take the time to submit something, you should get something. If you don't agree with it still, then you have to go see his office, much more formal, okay? I'm not saying it's impossible, but they're different. When you go to the Board of Revision, yeah, they get a little written. They can keep it the same. They also agree to it. So remember that when you file, okay? That's the formal process. So make sure you get everything ready.
Hi.
Oh, I thought it was my turn. Thank you, because I appreciate the fact that this side of the room has been notified or recognized. I have been through this contesting for 30 years, contesting my assessments. Not because I'm into a fight, I just things happen to be fair. And you had mentioned it hasn't been fair for 200 years. That's why people want to fight me. I went through my development and realized I had the smallest house in the development. This was 3 years ago at that assessment. And I realized how unfair it was, but I accepted it because I wound up with the arbitration, an arbitrator in Columbus, along with the prosecutor who, I don't know if everybody knows this, represents the county should you go forward with this. And I had the prosecutor drive through my development because I factored in what I was paying per square foot in taxes. And he says, you know what, Phil, he says, you're right. You are right, you are okay per square foot. He said, so let me do this. I'm going to cut this. This went to the arbitration in Columbus, and we cut a deal. I was very appreciative of that. He said, but what you have to understand is that everything is by state law based on comparables. So I look at this letter that was sent out here, and I see five different ways that we can address our assessment. It doesn't say anything about comparables. On your screen it did.
Yes.
Okay, but this has put so many people in such a difficult position that I find it rather sad, and I find it rather disgusting. Have these items been placed in the procedure by law?
Once again, we're one of 3 counties that have this little procedure. Most of them do the formal. So once again, it's informal. These aren't, what I'm doing and taking pictures of someone's value and making an adjustment, most of them won't even accept that. Board of Revision won't even look at that. We're giving you an opportunity. I know it's giving you selections and choices and how to help me help you. So I realize that I'm giving you an opportunity. If you have another method there that I'm unaware of, I'm trying to give people an example.
Well, people need to follow what I was told to follow, and I'm sure everybody would wants to follow comparables. And with the high interest rates that we now see, I'll put the value of my goal up $150,000. I went through and looked at comparables because I was told by the prosecutor that it's comparables within a 2-mile radius of your home.
It's comparables within your neighborhood.
Told a prosecutor representing the county told me 2 miles.
I'm not going to argue with you. We got a lot of argument, but
I'm telling you my.
You go ahead and submit what you got. I promise you we will give it the attention it deserves.
I think everybody should. What I just said.
I'm not arguing with you. Thank you. Mr. Chambers? Mr. Chambers, here.
Hello.
I'm in our privacy, I'm sorry. To your left. Mr. Chambers, to your left. This is sort of a follow-up to this gentleman. So I had an appraisal in 2021. So that's acceptable to submit, correct?
21, 22, 23, yep.
Yep, okay. So, a similar question, will my appraisal be
accepted, it's a licensed appraisal, it's comprehensive, all the details are laid out, pictures and everything. Will that be accepted as my value?
Once again, it won't, because the closer to the lien date, okay, which is 2024, okay, the more weight, because you and I both know in 3 years, a lot has gone up. But it will be considered, they'll take a look at it, okay? Yes,
So
submit
the
it.
guy with one month, more likely, it's going to be closer to his.
Well, clearly, yeah, once again, I trust him, and it's trustworthy, but, you know, we've got to have a look what he submits.
Right.
But also, if something changed in those couple of years, you need to update the kitchen, throw that in there too, we'll take a look at it.
I see. And,
Okay, I'm getting the hook here, folks. Most of you deserve. Oh, yeah, I thought.
I live in Bedford,
Okay.
and we have a big property in the back. Is there go in the backyard?
No,
Okay.
we do have very reviews though. I mean, we have reply to county often, but we don't go in the backyard, so I don't, you know, to answer your question, no.
Okay, well, some of parcel from our home. And it floods every year. And we have a park, what's up, in back of us. And they flood us. Meanwhile, our back property went up from 2,200 to 2,900. Can't build on it, can't do anything with it. Not only that, but Bedford also has a school levy out there to build new schools. We have no businesses in Bedford. We have the auto mile, that's about it. The one person house is just our business there. Why are our taxes going up so much?
First, you need to vote your councilors, number one, so that's on you, that's you. Once again,
It's us, what are you talking about?
you control the vote, I was saying. If you want to vote for that levy, that's up to you.
No, I didn't vote for it.
I can't control it.
Everybody else did, I did not.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's democracy, but as far as the vacant lot, I can't tell you off the top of my head. You can call that number, they can take an aerial look. If you want to submit the flooding as an example, I would also encourage you to try and see some stuff on the inside as additional support, because the land is only a fraction. The house is already of the value. The land is only a small fraction of that. So you can submit it, I'm not telling you don't,
It's
but
never been the parcels tied to the duplex. The parcel is tied to the other side of our duplex.
okay.
And it is one address in the county.
Okay, go ahead and submit it. They will look at it. They'll take a look at the reviews and see what they can help you. Hey, I do have to get these new people in, so there's never one more, you know that. There's always one more.
It's going to be short. As active as I am, and everybody else is here, I'm taking this forum, so we'll get a little more information. I've been living in Parma since 1986. I actually live in Pleasant Valley. I have a small home. It's 1,100 square feet, garage. My drive is about 8 feet long, and it needs to be replaced. I'm giving that background because my increase was 49%, which is fully unjustifiable. That's $61,500. Since I lived here in 1986 to this time, I've only gone up $57,000. In 6 years, you're telling me that it went up $61,000.
This gentleman right there in the teal polo shirt has
For 1,100 square foot house with one garage. Now, my problem here, obviously my current one, but I was thinking the informal review, okay, online, and that was nice. The only problem was, I was so aggravated. What I did was I found a property that is actually up for sale right now. They were built the same year, and there's a price. Okay, so I put that on. After listening to you, I have other ideas, taking pictures of inside the house and all of things that haven't been taken care of for years. And my question is here to end it is, you mentioned that if you did the informal review, you could only do it once. am I stuck now and I can't add anything more to that?
It would have been, you know, the answer is yes, but I'll try and help you.
Yeah, it's one of these things, like obviously, if we would have had this earlier, I know what they call it.
I've had 15 of these, don't today.
I understand that. But like I say, you know, I put it in because the aggravation in it, but now it's opened up for me to, you know, that I'm seeing that maybe I should have done this and this and this and this. But once again, 49% Parma for 1,100 square foot. And I just wanted to bring that up. And did you say there is something more I can do? Okay.
How about 120%?
I've got a question. I've got two questions, very short. Okay, the first one is, nothing has any value until somebody wants to buy it. Now, correct. You can ask whatever you want. You know, I could ask $1 million for my house, but I know I will never get that. But if my house sells or under your proposed market value, will I be refunded the amount of taxes that I overpaid?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay. Now,
He wants to own himself his house under the value of the fully refund. No, that's not, unfortunately, all of this. I wish I could tell you yes, but it's not all of it.
well, the second part of the question is, the Feds have raised interest rates to bring down inflation.
Yeah.
Now, why are you adding double-digit inflation to everybody in Cuyahoga County? If you leave house prices where they're at, that will bring house prices down, and everybody will be able to afford to live.
I'll tell you two things. One, I certainly don't enjoy doing that, but I'm following the rules established by the state of law. I don't like it.
The rules don't say you have to increase property taxes.
No, but there are, the other thing too is, there's other things that are hurting your taxes. We touched on it. Tax evasion is hurting you, okay? The nonprofits.
Well, why should we get to the little guys, you know?
But these are things that we need to fight, and I'm with you on this, we need to change the laws. That House Bill 187, I'm telling you, will help everyone. It'll put a cap on how much they can raise. It's a great bill. They're afraid of it because it's going to be, you know, people are going to have to worry about how much they're going to collect, but I don't care. I'm supporting that. So you guys need to let your state reps know that you support these bills. I'm telling you, they're aware of this. That one lady indicated the 70 under 70 where she's at, the governor wouldn't sign it. Not sure why. If it made it that far. I don't know if it made it that far to take her word for that. But that was a great bill. I'm with you on it. The only way we can change the rules is to have the state help me. Because remember, there's 88 counties going through this.
Well, what they should do is people over 70 should get like a 20% break on their taxes.
Guys over 70 should be froze forever. Never pay anything.
Well, I'll be 76. And I think they should lower the taxes. When somebody's, you know, 90 years old, they shouldn't have to pay any taxes.
I don't disagree with you, I promise. If you want to stick around for the next presentation, stick. You guys are welcome. If I ain't here,
So we were going to do another presentation, but a lot of people have questions and we understand. So we're going to have Mr. Chambers continue to answer questions, and we're going to have one of our other employees go back and the 30 people that are still waiting to do presentation out there and answer their questions, okay?
thank you. Yes. If you go on the website, okay, under the sales finder, and you type in your address, everything that starts popping up is your neighborhood. If you look to the right, it's going to tell you all the homes in it. Okay, that entire list to the right is your neighborhood. That's your neighborhood. No, I'm going to have multiple neighborhoods. No, I'm looking at your neighborhood. Okay, Parma can have multiple neighborhoods. I'm not crossing the 7 hills, those are different neighborhoods. But there's 1,020 neighborhoods for 59 communities. They're all in each of the cities. They don't cross over. but not necessarily the neighborhood.
So my house was assessed with the neighborhood specifically in Parma.
You can look it up, it's right there, it'll show you all the homes that are in the neighborhood. But have a look at that big list. And if there's a school district issue, that the school district kind of throws me off, someone said there was 3, okay? But I'm telling you, traditionally, we look in the city and the neighborhoods, okay? Is there one house that might have been on that? Could be. Sometimes if you're in the county, we value some property, they value some property. There's variables involved. I feel like you're setting me up for something because
Because the value of the house in Seven Hills, Broad Light is totally on the same square footage.
look at the neighborhood, you'll see, okay? Yes.
I have a quick one. What would it call this way with the microphone?
I'm sorry.
I just have a quick question. Regarding the amount for homestead exemption, is that your net gross or an adjusted income on your 1040?
The 68,000, 38,600 would not include Social Security, it's your income. So if you take Social Security out of it, it's your income. Now they use the state of Ohio, this is a state of Ohio program. So they will run it through the state system and they'll double check your income and make sure you qualify.
Well, it's called STRS, doesn't give cost of living increases, haven't for years, and so I make too much as a single person in my family.
Listen, you look around this room, there's a lot of people similar to you, and that's why you need to get your voice to raise that homestead threshold and amount. Okay.
You said you look at the neighborhood. Well, the value of the house. Across my street, look what this claim is going up. It's $500,000, $600,000. My house is $230,000.
This young man is talking about a neighborhood that has big fancy homes across the street. We try to group them together, okay? Now, when I say that becomes the neighborhood, you'll be part of another neighborhood. However, if you live on a street, this happens a lot, people will buy a house, they'll tear it down, and they'll build a brand new mansion, okay? That one house won't impact you. But if they build 2 or 3 more, then that's going to impact you. Yes. Hopefully the guy across the street is in its own neighborhood. I don't know, I'm just giving you the data.
When I bought my house, I bought it in a highly inflated market, right? Way over market value. But you go with that value, right? What I had to pay.
If it's in the last 3 years, unfortunately, that's yes.
And you said when that law goes in effect about to cap that value of inflation, you reduce taxes or you keep the taxes?
I will follow whatever that law says. I have to follow this, and I don't really like it myself. Yeah, I will follow that law.
I'm here now for 2 hours, Mr. Chambers. You're talking a lot. I got no answers. You're talking a lot. I got nothing. You don't give me any help how to reduce it. No. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
You know we live in a high inflation right now. People have a lot of bills to pay. They don't have the money. You put that in consideration.
Okay.
Thank you for ignoring me.
Okay, I live in Parma. The property value, market value is $61,000. My taxes increased by almost 40%, $900. Now, my brother, he resides in Parma as well. His property, or market value of his house went up $40,000. His property tax only went up $387. Now, his property is worth $60,000 more than mine. Why is there such a big difference by the tax estimator?
The main reason is Parma has 3 school systems. It depends which
I live in Parma.
Where do you live? Brexel? I forgot.
Parma.
I believe Parma has 3 different school taxing districts. It depends which one they're in. Each school system has a different tax rate. I gave you an average of it.
Parma is one school district, correct?
I thought it was Parma 7. I don't have it in front of me. I do believe there's multiple school districts that cross over. Is there one?
There's Parma school district.
So there's 3 cities in 1 district.
Okay.
Once again, your brother may be in a neighborhood that's different than you. It's a different neighborhood.
Yeah.
And the neighborhood put the increases where the data aren't. He's in a different neighborhood.
Why is lower than mine?
Because that's what his neighborhood came up with, that's the data. It's the data show the sales data in his
His
neighborhood.
property is more valuable than mine.
Once
So
again,
my taxes are $500 more than his.
it goes back to my Honey Valley indicator. The more affluent the neighborhood, the less the change is. Okay, it's just the way
My neighborhood is not that influent. I live a few streets away from Cleveland.
Right, but this neighborhood, is, you said it's a higher end neighborhood. Those prices stay that way around. Your neighborhood, his. You said he's in a much more affluent neighborhood, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so it's just like my Honey Valley example. Those homes are going to maintain their value.
So because he lives in a more affluent neighborhood, he pays less taxes than if I don't live in an affluent neighborhood. That doesn't make any sense.
It's part of the mass appraisal. I know
I don't care what it is from, it doesn't make any sense. There's no logic to it.
So the point
Is there?
The point I'm going to ask you is if you can't sell your house, tell me why, and I want to help you. Okay? If you can't, it's not worth it, let me help you. We can argue about
it's not worth it. I'm just talking about the disparity in the taxes and the tax amount.
But I'm trying to tell you, there's 1,020 neighborhoods. We take great pride in trying to make sure we assess those neighborhoods fairly. We don't just have one big blanket for the whole county. So that's why we in a different neighborhood.
We live 4 miles apart.
I've done the best with that. Yeah.
I've got another here, Mr. Chambers.
So I had a pulled permit a little over a year ago, and as a result, I have not gotten my estimated increase property value.
So hold on, real quick, you sold it, you bought it,
I pulled a permit, and
that's why.
Yeah. Now, how would I get the informal process? They said I won't be.
Good question. So this man has a great question. A lot of people that pull permits, they're usually for the bigger type of project. We did not send out the valuation notices because we wanted the permit closed. So we didn't want to send something out and the permit come in and look like we're, doing something wrong. So you will have an opportunity in November when you get that, when you get the value, you will have an opportunity through the end of, probably it's going to be a quick turnaround. It'll be in your permit, you'll have an opportunity to say, I agree or disagree, the same thing we're talking about right now. But they will take the value of that increase of that permit and add it, and then they'll go through that process.
The permit was for a deck, and that's the other issue is, it was a floating deck not attached to the house, which, if I'm not mistaken, that shouldn't count as real estate's personal property, correct?
Once again, I'm not sure. But I'm telling you, the reason you get it is because you have a permit that's closed, and once it's closed, you'll have an opportunity.
And it also shows that the tag is deck on the county's website. The county's website's already been updated, now it shows the deck as a kind of patio instead of a deck. I was wondering how that.
You said the website's already updated?
Yes, it shows the patio.
I mean, unless we got the permit may not be closed, we probably got it open. That's why you can get it, when it was open, we wait till it closed. So they probably put something in and they're waiting for the final closure.
Okay, my one neighbor has an increase of 27% in this fall. The next door neighbor, other neighbor is 34%, and ours is 61% increase in valuation. Is that a good argument to make in this speed? No. It's the 80s. No, I don't believe so. What about this information? Is it valid as well?
So he's using his neighbor's values. So what I'm trying to tell him is, can he sell his house for what we have now? His neighbors have different values, percentage-wise, has gone up a little bit, been different. He wants to know, can he use his neighbor's value as proof? The answer is no, because if you do that with a board revision, they won't accept it. You have to worry about your value. Now, I'm allowing you to use the informal process for sales, related stuff. But if you focus on the inside of your home, you can't see it's your greatest opportunity.
All right, so you say you probably won't work in this informal appraisal, but I can submit it anyway as
So the gentleman wants to know if he sees neighbors' values. It is on the line, it is on, it's on my website. Yeah, it's on there. So if you don't go through you gotta go through where that Sexennial tab is. Let me show you. So right here, okay, you won't see it now because I had them added a couple days ago. So once again, you come to my home page, right? You hit the Sexennial button right there. You're going to come to this. You will see a file right here, right above Mr. Scan Me. You can open that up. It'll have the entire county, not only your neighbors, but everyone in the county. You'll see the address, and you'll see the current value and the new value.
Yeah, because that's what I found, the existing values in that box as well. But that other button I talked about wasn't on. But one other question is, so if we do submit pictures, and we don't have a formal estimate, our own informal estimate, will you use that to go through the informal review process?
Remember, these guys are appraisers. They're licensed appraisers, so they have a reasonable estimate and they will consider it. Yeah. I understand.
That's better, but they'll still consider it.
Absolutely. The reason I try to show the appraisal and those other things, they carry more weight. Obviously, your pictures and insurance have got the camera dated, so we know it's today, not 5 years ago. Now, am I going to know that you shot your neighbor's basement? No. So, I mean, obviously, we've got some trust going on here.
I have a quick question. All your information has been very helpful if you own, houses over there. I have a vacant property. My firm tax is $1,300. Next year is $4,027. What can I do to lower that being with vacant land?
Hey, Lou, are you on vacant? Do you handle vacant land?
Commercial.
Is it commercial? Is it commercial vacant?
No, residential.
All right. He went from 1,800 to 4,000?
1,300 to 4,027.
Where is it located?
North Road.
York Road? Yeah. Can you sell for that?
No. It's a nice piece of property, but it's not wide enough to build, a street to build it.
You should probably call the office.
Call the office, they'll look up here, they can look aerial on it, they'll take a look at it, see if they can help out. Ask one of the appraisers. You can always submit something, to consider. It's not like you can take a picture. Okay, what do you got? Thank you.
I have a question. If your basement floods, now instantly your house is less desirable, and you never know when it's going to happen. If you sell, you have to disclose that. And it's out-of-pocket expenses, insurance doesn't cover it. So for this documentation, can I take all the out-of-pocket expenses with documentation from, the plumbers and the contractors for the repairs and submit that?
Did you already do it?
Yeah. But my property value is affected by
That's
that.
the problem, but what I'm going to tell you too is that,
But you never know when it's going to happen again.
unfortunately, I hear you. Last year was a big rainstorm, and we all remember that, a lot of basements flooded. We have a form, we advertise on the news. This is for a garage gets crushed, or a house, a natural disaster. There were thousands of people whose basements got flooded. We went online, 3 people filled out the form. They would have a 1-year reduction of all the damage, and then we would have came out and taken a look at it. If you never fixed it, we would have kept it down. 3 people out of all the everyone did this. So the next time if it does happen to you, there is a form that you can call us, and we can come out and we'll lower your taxes immediately. We'll look at the estimated value of the construction, and we'll lower it down. And then if you do get it fixed in a year, we'll take a look at it again. If you don't, then we'll make it work somehow. So then a lot more success, yeah. Sure. Chambers over there.
So you said early on that the schools are capped by some state law. So the schools aren't getting the windfall.
No.
My tax is going up 33%.
Let me correct myself. There's 2 types. I said the voted levies.
Okay.
The voted levies. hold on, because your schools are getting a small windfall, your city's getting a windfall, because those are the unvoted levies. Remember, 200 years ago, this is how some of this stuff started. So they have unvoted levies that are not subject to that House Bill 920. I'm sorry, yeah, please.
Okay, if you're getting to it, I gotta ask the question so I get the answer in a way I understand. Okay, so there's certain things that they don't get the windfall from. So who is getting a windfall of my taxes going up 33%? Is it the county? Is it the city? Is it the parks? Who is getting this windfall of 33%? So when they ask for another levy, I vote no.
So the answer to your question is the majority, I would say anywhere from 4 to 5 mills, which is 10 mills total. So I could be off on a district, so someone might yell at me, but the majority, like that 4 or 5 goes to the schools. 2 or 3 might go to your city, and in the county, that's 1 or 2. That's where it goes. So if you look at the Cleveland schools and some of your schools, some of the schools, I think they got $16 million, or whatever the number was, windfall. So that's where it went, that's the inside village.
So they're getting, the school's getting like half of that, like you said, it's 10, the school's getting 5.
Every school does.
I understand, round number, I'm asking.
In my estimate, they're getting it, yeah. So that's where some of it's going. But now, there's obviously new construction, it's part of it. There's a lot of areas.
And my other question for you is that when the housing market crashes like it did in 2008, how do I get my value reduced to match that crash? So you give me 10 years to get back to what I purchased my house for because I bought it at the right before the crash.
I'm with you, that's what and people were saying earlier we didn't do it. They did, the values of your home went down that day. Because I was the highest on my street, same thing, we crashed, our values went down. So what you do is everyone has a right to file a board of revision. So when that happens, go ahead, get an appraisal, go right to the board of revision and file.
So I have to file something. You don't have to, not just going to look at data, the housing crash. I have the data on our going to do that.
Let me finish, because every 3 years we do an update. Okay, so if you want it done within quicker, you have that right to do the board revision. You can wait for the county to do it based on the data that we do right, everything I talked about tonight, and then you'll get a value.
So every 3 years, unless we do something on our own.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chambers, may I ask a question? We have quite a few folks here who thought that we were going to go through the presentation again. How do you feel?
I feel good.
You feel good? Can we pull the folks from outside and we can go through your presentation really quickly again for the folks that didn't get it? Bring them in.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to offer, that several of the others that can go answer questions.
Yeah, I still have a couple of questions. Yeah.